Hey everybody, I'm Amy from BodyFit by Amy, and this is Ryan from Simply Sport CBD, and this is your happy, healthy hips mobility workout. This is part of our mobility series that I'm doing in partnership with Simply Sport CBD. If you want to get more information on any of their products, check out the description below. In this workout, we're going to be focusing on mobility of our hips. We get full body mobility, but we want to focus on those things that get the tightest. We're going to do a quick workout going through some of those mobility exercises that are going to not only mobilize, but we'll get some flexibility and we'll get some good recovery as we go. Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to start just getting our body in alignment from a standing position. So I always like to check in with our posture because that makes a big difference when it comes to our mobility. So we're going to start by stacking our ears over our shoulders, shoulders over our rib cage over our pelvis, right over those hips, hips over the knees, over the ankles. So a lot of times when we have hip pain and tightness, it could be because we're out of alignment. Often we tend to stick those ribs out, or we're hunched over because a lot of us get that from sitting at our desk all day, right? Looking at our phones. So really trying to be aware of that posture, and it goes beyond just pulling those shoulders back. Really think about aligning your rib cage right over the pelvis. See how that feels. A little soft bend in the knees. Now that we're checked in with that posture, we're just gonna march a little bit just to kind of get the blood flowing. So it's great to get mobility anytime that you can, but when we do it before a workout, after a workout, those are really ideal times because our bodies are warm. So we can roll through those shoulders. And then to get focused on those hips, let's just add a little knee drive to the top. So our hips are working in all different directions. What's great about our hip joints, ball and socket joint, they can move not only forward and back, but they move around and to the side. So we have our hip flexion, hip extension. We have, let's go ahead and take it to some rolls, abduction, adduction, and we of course can roll to the front and the back, internal, external rotation. So switch that, bring it in, which is a little different, right? So these are things that you could do at any point during your day. If you need a little break standing up from your desk, so you can get it either way, to the back or to the front, internal, external, just to really loosen up those hips that again get really tight. A lot of it because we do a lot of sitting, right? Sitting at our desk, at our computer, in our cars. And then let's take it just little hamstring curls. So we're kind of opening up those hip flexors. So even just some gentle movement, blood flow, all of that is going to help your overall mobility and hip mobility. So remembering that it doesn't mean that you have to be getting down on the mat, doing a full routine. Just a little bit of movement can help throughout your day. So now that we've got that, we're gonna take it down to a seated position. And we're gonna start with just a little hip stretch that you may know, and it's that classic seated butterfly. So feet are together, and within this, you wanna find what feels good for you. So you may have really good flexibility and be able to pull them in like Ryan, right? Or you may need them a little further out. Finding what's good for you. A great modification for this too is sitting on the edge of a chair and just letting your knees drop. And then you can lean into that a little bit. You can use your arms to gently push down to the ground. The goal is not to get these all the way to the ground. The goal is to find what feels good for you and to increase your mobility as you go. So I like to use the breath as you exhale, trying to sink a little deeper, inhale and exhale, and just gently pushing. So again, this is a great stretch. It's one we often do at the end of workouts. But even just sitting in this position is going to really help that hip mobility. So now that we've got with this, let's go with one of my favorites, the 90-90 switch. So we do this a lot in my other mobility workouts. So you want to put your legs in 90-90. So yep, you can be either way. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll match you. Don't worry. So we're here. It doesn't have to be a perfect 90-90. And again, a great modification would be to sit on the edge of the chair. And we're just going to switch this. So we're moving through side to side. Now, you may, if you have longer legs like Ryan, need to take it one at a time. You may be able to be a little more fluid with it. And you may need to use your hands for support. So you do you. You know what I always say, be where you are today. If you need to put those hands back there, if you need to go one at a time. And you also can turn your torso a little bit if you want to get a little bit of that back stretch. You really can't talk about hip mobility without talking about back mobility. And same thing when we do our back mobility workout, we'll be talking about hips, right? They're connected. So just taking it again at your own pace. And this is also a great modification for that pigeon pose, which we're not going to do today. It is a good hip stretch, but one that often can be difficult to get into. You can just rotate this 90-90. And again, if you want to turn your torso, get a little more of a stretch through your back. Let's go one more each side. It's funny, you don't feel like you're super tight until you start doing these, and then you realize. Other side, right through here. And then we're gonna go ahead and come down onto our back. So Ryan's gonna come down on his back, and we're gonna just do a little knee drop. So this is a great one that you could do before you go to bed at night. If you're watching TV, you can just get down on the carpet and just bringing your feet in a little closer, and we're just gonna let one knee drop at a time. So he's dropping one knee, and what I like to do is put hands right on the hip so you can kind of feel, you're not twisting in your torso or your back, you're letting that hip open just to get that little stretch. And this is also a great deep core exercise. We do this a lot in deep core and pelvic floor training, prenatal and postnatal, because you have to use that deep core, which again, connected to the hips and our low back, to let that hip drop. So mobility, yes, we do. I do a lot of cardio mobility, sneaky mobility, getting it into your workouts. But when we're really trying to improve that range of motion, we want to take it nice and slow and really make sure that you're working through what you want to be working. Great. So again, great one to do. You can stay down. And we're gonna come into a bridge. Bridge, you know it, you love it, classic exercise. You're just gonna tuck the pelvis and then just lift those hips to the ceiling. Now Ryan has really good mobility in those hip flexors. I don't even know if I could get that high, but the goal is to try to push through, again, without straining in your back, but because we're stretching through the hip flexors with this. Also the bridge, as you know, it's a glute and hamstring exercise. We can strengthen the back and the core through this, but for the purposes of opening up our hips, great option to stretch through those hip flexors. Again, you could just do it on the floor, maybe you're playing with your kids, or again, watching TV, great option to get both strength and stretch. And really when it comes to mobility, you have to have strength. When it comes to strength, you have to have mobility. Let's get one more. Perfect, good. So go ahead and come on up. We are moving through these pretty quickly, but you could do more on your own. We just wanna really get a workout where we get a lot of different options to get that mobility. So we're gonna come in this low lunge. So we do this a lot in our yoga, in our Pilates, things like that. Yeah, you can add the little stretch up top and just leaning forward a little bit, or if that doesn't feel good for you, just a little tuck of your pelvis is you're gonna feel that hip flexor, right? Just bringing your pelvis a little bit forward, and you can also lean forward. If this is bothersome to your knee, you can put a pillow or something, folded up mat, something underneath. The other thing we can do is we can slide that front foot out a little bit, creating that space in the hips. And then from here, we're gonna go into one of my favorite stretches, world's greatest stretch. So we're gonna put this hand down here. Even just holding it here, you can have that hand on the inside. We're opening up, creating space. And we're gonna reach that arm up. Now you can lift up on that back knee, or you can keep it down, and we'll just do a few little rotations. So we're gonna take it in, rotating through the spine, and taking it up. I'm gonna show you what this looks like from the side so you can see. Again, if you would like to, you can lift that back knee and drop it down in between. But if you want, you can also just keep it down. You're still creating the space in your hips, opening up through the torso. That's why we call it the world's greatest, because we get so many things working. So go ahead, let's switch that to that other side. We'll start with the low lunge. So we're coming up first. Again, if you need a little support for that knee, leaning forward or tucking the pelvis, creating that space, moving that front foot out just a bit. And then we'll take this hand here, reaching it up, world's greatest stretch, and taking it through. Lifting up on the back knee if you want. And you don't have to go the same pace as us. You can take this slower or even quicker, as long as you have good form. You're taking your time through that range of motion. You can feel the lunge part of it, right? We get that strength, especially in that front leg. And take it down right here. Again, hand on the inside, little opener right through here. And since we're here, let's just move back into that child's pose, little stretch back, pressing that the shoulders down. Now, child's pose again, you can hang out in it for a second. Another great stretch that we love because it feels good because we're getting a lot of things. Obviously backs, shoulders, but when you open up your knees a bit, you're gonna open up those hips. So you can take that, a little moving child's pose coming up and then taking it back down. And coming through. So a lot of our mobility work is just moving through a stretch, adding repetitions, right? Flexibility when we hold, when we really lengthen. Mobility as we're moving through and thinking about range of motion. Let's get one more. Hang out right there, let your head drop. And just to finish this out, I'm gonna mix it up on you. Sorry, I'm gonna have you come back down on your back. Last one, we're gonna come into that figure 4 stretch, right? So a lot of us know this. It can be like a seated crossover, but go ahead and bring your leg over here. Yep. And so this, again, you can do this sitting in a chair. You can actually do this standing. Great way. We get piriformis, we get glutes, hip stretch. You can keep it right here if that's good for you. And even if you need to move this leg out a little bit, maybe that's a better option for you. Or you can lift it up and I'll have you grab underneath this leg and get a little more of a stretch. So whatever option works for you, again, that's why I love this stretch, is you can start seated, you can start with that leg crossed over low, you can bring it up a little higher, you can move through it like Ryan's doing, lifting your shoulders. You can even press this top knee down a little bit, using your elbow gently and just moving through that. Let's switch that to the other side. Another great stretch, maybe you're in the middle of your workday and you want to just cross that leg over, even seated in your desk chair or kitchen chair, and just opening up those hips that get really tight when we're moving through or sitting a lot in our workday. So just a couple more just like that. And then the last thing that's really great to do, just hug both knees in and you can let your head and neck relax. Just a little back stretch. If that's not right for you, you can do it one at a time. Again, lower back is connected to those hips, but I love stretches that you can do from your bed. This is a great one for that. You can even just extend that leg down, or you get a little more core, kind of like a single leg stretch from Pilates. So you can just hang out there and relax if you want, but that is all we're gonna be working through today. Again, a lot of things thrown at you, but just pick a few that you can do throughout your day, or come back to this video. You can get it daily. You can get it more than once a day. You can spread out these mobility workouts throughout your week, along with your strength, along with your endurance training. All of it is gonna make us move better and make us feel better and aid in our recovery. Hey, thanks so much. You can come up now. Thank you so much to Ryan and Simply Sport CBD. Again, check out the information down in the description, and we'll see you for our next workout.